facilitating learning. When I say facilitate learning, I'm trying to say that a system whereby the teacher guides the student to learn on their own. If you do that, it helps you a lot. It helps you, the teacher, to relax. It helps you to get more energy to teach, and it helps you, the teacher, to be able to release every kind of knowledge your students have or every energy your student needs to learn the lesson. So when you apply the facilitation of learning in your class, it helps a lot. The teacher is able to teach well and the student is able to learn well. So remember, in 2024, to facilitate learning in your classroom, that is going to be beneficial, and that is better than you, the teacher, always being in front of the class, teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching. That gets the students to get tired and get bored easily. So the teacher should create an environment where he, the teacher, or she, the teacher, would be able to facilitate learning. You need to apply the facilitation of learning. And that is going to help you and your students. We cannot talk about these things and we forget soft skills training. Listen to me. About 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to teach public speaking. When I say the soft skills training, I'm talking about public speaking, entrepreneurship, leadership, and then the likes. So, like I was saying, about 2 years ago, I had the chance to teach public speaking to a group of students. I was called upon. So when I was called upon, I was like, okay, probably these kids are able to speak English already. So I just have to go there and teach them how to speak publicly and then give them all the tricks they need. Fortunately or unfortunately for me, because I'm saying fortunately because I had the chance to relate with a group I never intended, getting involved with, but at the end of the day, I learned a lot. Unfortunately, that side, I'm saying that I got there and I realized that they were not the people I was expecting. So it was unfortunate for me. But fortunately, I learned a lot. Now, I got to the class and I realized that these kids are from 7 years old. And then the oldest was, I think, 10 years, and Asians. So you know what I'm talking about. It's going to be hard because already they don't know how to speak the language. And now you are going to teach them how to speak publicly. So how do you speak to them? How do you guide them? How do you explain things to them? So these things are very important. As a teacher of the world that we are in now, the 2024 and beyond world, the world of technology, AI, and the rest, if I had a chance to train these kids and they were able to at least understand me, it took me a couple of months to deal with these classes. And I'm sometimes real with my students. When I get to the class, I tell them that, hey guys, today the class is going to be a bit boring. You need to bear with me because if it's not boring, we cannot achieve our aim. So from the beginning of the class, my kids understand that it's going to be a bit boring already. So now they don't have any problem when it's boring. Do you get it? Because it gets bored when I have to explain some things to them. And it gets interesting when they've got to do something. And remember, if they don't understand, they cannot do. And they cannot gain an interest in what you are doing. So let them understand the boring aspect of it, explain to them, let them understand, and then give them the chance to practice. Give them the chance, and you, the teacher, facilitate the learning for them. Got it? All right. So they need to have the opportunity to learn some soft skills. In some of my classes, I sometimes do role play. I change the setting of my classes to a market. I changed the setting of my classroom into a supermarket, into a restaurant, and I allow my students to practice, to behave, to role play, to pretend. So sometimes I call it the pretend learning. So in this kind of world or system or setting we find ourselves, You cannot go with the only things you know. You need to also remember that these kids need to know a lot, and soft skills is part of it. Remember, the soft skills involves entrepreneurship, public speaking, role play, drama, how to communicate with people, how to control emotions, how to communicate. All these things put together are what we call the soft skills. How to react when something happens. Do you understand? Sometimes go out of the way. Show them, play, how to give directions, how to ask for directions. All these things are part of the soft skills. So don't only teach, don't only play the games, don't only do, the exciting things, but sometimes let them do these things. They are also happy to do them sometimes. So remember, soft skills training. So as a teacher, when you're preparing your lesson, you should bring all these things into play. There is no lesson that you are preparing which wouldn't give you a room for soft skill training. Every lesson will give you this permission or will give you this room to practice a soft skill training. Also, you need to remember that these kids need to learn about money. Well, I don't know if you have read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. At a point in time, he said when he was growing, he realized that the rich dad has a different mentality and the poor dad had a different mentality. Now he went to his father to ask him, why are we not learning about money? Because he got the understanding that if we learn about money, then it will help us to understand money when we grow. So all these things are part of the soft skills. They should learn entrepreneurship, how to invest, how if you have to sometimes just ask them a random question. If you have $5,000, what are you going to do? What are you going to invest in? Why do you think it is that way? So when they do that in the classroom, you get to know their answers. Then after that, when they were going home, you can give them that question to go home and ask, and then bring back the result the next day or the next meeting of the class. And so at the end of the day, they give you their ideas. They go home, ask their dads and moms and uncles, and they come up with different ideas. And I'm promising you, if these things are some of the things you do in your class, then your class is going to be amazing and you can never lose your class. I promise you. Yeah.